same goes we go for jazz, being able to like sing a few standards and know the lyrics to some of the tunes you play. But I'm way more well versed in bluegrass when it comes to that. So I'll sing a verse and a chorus just so you can hear how it goes. I'm going down this lonesome road to find my fate or victory. Our God must help us there to win. I'm coming back, but I don't know when. I hate to leave my mother dear, my father who is on the grave, my true love and all the way till I return to her someday. I'm going down this lonesome road to find my fate or victory. Our God must help us there to win. I'm coming back, but I don't know when. So that's how the basic kind of melody to this tune goes. You know, certainly, like I've mentioned for anyone who's in the jazz workshop, you know, find a recording or multiple recordings to kind of base your version on. There's a lot of great like bluegrass songbooks and stuff of that nature, but you know, the chords to a tune like this are the harmony is so simple, and you know, I as much as you can just learn it from the recording, I highly recommend doing that. So once you have the vocal melody sort of in your ears, and this might be kind of new to some of you, this particular tune, but hopefully some of you have heard it before. Finding the notes to the melody is the next step. I would not, personally I'm not a big fan of like finding tabbed out versions and stuff like that. Not to say there's anything wrong with that, but I think the sort of pecking around in the dark process of finding the melody is a beneficial part of the process. You know, it's ear training of a sort. So this tune, you know, the melody notes without any sort of shuffly pattern to them might be. So yeah, it's a nice tune to sing actually for one reason being the range is so small. And that's sort of, you know, you can really tell that when I just played it. But, you know, even just playing it lyrically, there's a lot of, meaning there wasn't any sort of shuffle or rhythm to what I was doing. It was in time, but it just wasn't subdivided. You know, you can sell a melody just playing it that way. Interestingly, you know, as it happens on fiddles, mandolins, banjos, guitars, and bluegrass, it would actually be more rare to hear someone convey the melody like that, or like lyrically. Like Grisman is one of the only folks that kind of has the chutzpah to play a melody just. I mean, that sounds great. You know, there's no reason not to do that, other than you've got to have a lot of trust in your own sort of timing and tone and all of that. But that's where it starts no matter what, is, you know, locating the notes of the melody. So let's try it once, and it's like every group of more than one mandolin player, sometimes even one. It's chaotic, but just do your best to kind of peck away and just find the melody notes. So I'll count it off. 1, 2, 3. So for now, no subdivision. Yeah, pretty simple. Honestly, just from my taste, I actually prefer a lyrical melody like that to like poorly done subdivision. And that's the reason I wanted to do it lyrically to begin with, is I want to be very specific with how we add the subdivision. Something that I distinctly remember when I first started, well, who knows how much is remembering, how much is being told that this is what happened. But my dad, when he started me with melodies like that done with a shuffle. And the shuffle, just on one string, what the shuffle is quarter note, eighth, down, down, up, which looks like this. So we'll start even slower, and I want everyone to do that just on the D string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the A string. Now E string. Let's hop over to the G string. Yeah. And now this is a really great pattern for adding subdivision. It's actually in some ways more beneficial than doing constant eighth notes. Reason being, if you've ever struggled with getting your down strokes and upstrokes confused, and by that I mean, and I'll touch on this more in my right hand workshop, in general, when you're playing bluegrass, especially above a certain tempo, all downbeats are downstrokes, all upbeats are upstrokes, with kind of minimal exceptions. This is not including sort of Monroe, more bluesy picking, which is a lot of downstrokes. But in general, any of the guys, your Sam Bushes, your Ronnie McCurrys, when they're playing anything medium slow to faster, it subscribes to this downbeats, downstrokes, upbeats, upstrokes. Now, a lot of players, even people that have a lot of ability, I notice will still get those mixed up. But what can happen is if say you do a quarter note rest on a down, if then you resume on an upstroke, all of a sudden, all your heavy beats sound like strong beats, and all your strong beats sound like light beats, and it will have this general visceral feeling of being backwards, and I see it happen. Sometimes in private lessons, I'll notice a player is like actually nailing it the whole way through, and there's just one lick that they're always getting backwards, and it usually has to do with there being a rest where they didn't resume correctly. So honestly, if this shuffle pattern it's instilling this quarter note down and then 2/8 down up, down, down up, down, down up. And you'll notice that the effect of this is actually that the hand continues to go down and up the whole time. Because even on that quarter note a downstroke, there is an up motion that happens in order to reset for the next down up, down, down, up, down, down. So that's why when you see someone like Sam Bush, who has a real exaggerated sort of constant subdivision, even when there's a rest of a quarter note, that his hand stays in that rhythmic motion. And everyone was nailing that shuffle. It seems like everyone's pretty much on that. But it's if you ever find yourself in a fiddle tune or something where you get that sense of being backwards, that's usually what's happened. The other time that happens a lot is if there's like a D string followed by an A with a downstroke. Sometimes people will do 2 downs, or likewise on the way back up, if it's maybe an A on an upstroke and then a D, they'll do 2 ups. And it's this feeling of like, okay, maybe that seems more economical in terms of picking, but rhythmically speaking, you'll never get that same kind of propulsiveness that you get from the downbeats, downstrokes, upbeats, upstrokes. Any questions about that? Okay. So the first thing I want to do with this melody is sort of play it with a shuffle. And so I'll show you what it sounds like. So pretty simple, but there's a lot of good things about it. It's got some of that propulsiveness, and it's really helping to ingrain that downbeats, downstrokes, upbeats, upstrokes. Also, the shuffle thing is very bluegrassy. As particularly fiddlers will do that a lot. So we'll take it a little bit slower. I'm not going to do it note at a time at this point, but continue to do the down, down, up the whole time. Sometimes the down will be on one note and the down up on the next melody note, if that makes sense. Like that kind of thing. So I'll take it about here. 1, 2, said, when I first started, this is one of the first things my dad had me do is play like bluegrass, like lyrical melodies in a shuffle. And I honestly think that did worlds for my just being able to keep my downs and my ups straight. So now, and the other thing weirdly about this shuffle is I find it in general to be easier to speed up than a lot of other things. So, and this is also, you know, harkening back to my workshop this morning, like I'm all about sort of throwing yourself into the deep end. So I'm going to do it a little bit quicker and just play along. If you mess up, just jump back in. 1, 2, 3. That's great. A little faster. 1, 2, 3. That's great. I mean, honestly, that was pretty tight. It sounded really good. Something about that shuffle is good at tricking the hand into the right kind of bounce, I think. It sounds very idiomatic, and I think then jumping, if that speed that we just played at is difficult for you to play constant eighth notes at, jumping off from that shuffle is going to be, it's just this great sort of rudimentary rhythm that you can really build on, because there's actually a lot of subdivision, and then the physical act, I think, of going from that to consonants is not that great. And you're really already, that's what you're doing. Like on that quarter note, you're coming back up each time. So your hand's already doing it. And it just sounds good. So, you know, this class about like embellishing melodies. So we already have two versions of this melody. So we have the lyrical melody and we have the shuffle melody. So that's two options. And, you know, so a guy like, you know, Bill Monroe might have had 15, 20 options. A guy like Stuart Duncan might have, 1 to 2,000 options. I mean, I kind of see as like the greater the player, like sort of the more options, you know. And for someone like Stuart Duncan, you know, he could play it in the style of Bobby Hicks, or he could play it in the style of Paul Warren, or, you know, there's just like there's a lot of different. You know, Benny Martin, he could play in all these different styles, you know, and that's basically what we're dealing with, is adding like kind of like arrows in the quiver of ways to convey a melody. So we already got two. You know, you could play the melody. That's just going between the lyrical way and the shuffly way. Now, a really natural expansion on that might be to learn it in a different octave. So, and lucky for us, like I said, this melody is has such a small range, that's pretty easy. We have two other octaves where we can pretty easily do this. So let's try it now up on the A and the E string, first in the lyrical fashion. You can do it with your pinky, your second, third, and fourth finger, if you wish, or you can shift up if you feel more strength in your first three. You can shift up to second position. So the lyrical version would be like. Feel free to play along. It's good to always keep this in time, even though there's all these rests. Check it out. Now we can do most of it other than the pickup notes on the low string too, like right there. So 1, 2, 3. I'll shoot. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Now let's go back up the octave and add a shuffle to the high octave version. So because of where in the bar the pickup notes fall, we'll start with the down up. like that. So it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, nice. And I would actually now continue this if I was working on improvising over a tune, say that I was going to record or something, where I wanted to kind of explore my options. I would practice then playing it also in third position, which is the same octave as the first way we learned it, but it's in third position. Everyone find that maybe. So you're going to start, the pickup note is going to be the second finger on the 7th fret of the G. And then it's going to feel a lot like this version. But down here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and then there's more. You can take that same fingering, move it up to 6th position. You might sort of wonder, why are we doing it when it is in fact the same octave? A couple reasons. It does have different sound in third position, and then even more importantly, I think different double stops are accessible in the different positions. This kind of thing is only available up here. That kind of thing, it's like, that's where taking the melody that we play down here, moving it up here, all of a sudden it's easy to add these other notes, and I'll get into that. But that's just sort of the basic logic to why we would learn it every available spot. So to review, we do the lyrical melody in one place, add the shuffle. Find the lyrical melody in as many places as you can, and then the first thing you do is add the shuffle. You get it, happening in time. Now, my favorite, and honestly, when I'm in a bluegrass jam or on stage with my band or whatever, my default bluegrass break over a tune is going to be a melody with double stops with possibly a more 8th note-y lick at the end. Or a melody with double stops through the first half and then maybe an 8th note-based ornamented melody in the second half. I'll just give you an example on this tune, just to sort of, so you can hear what we're sort of shooting for. Is a bunch of double stops, all melodies, second half, a few more 8th notes, still basically the melody. At the root of everything was knowing where the shape of the melody is. And it's funny, it's such a simple melody, and there's nothing really counterintuitive about it, but yet choosing to hang on the other notes in the scale are going to be not nearly as good sounding for this tune as the melody notes. So that's why you really can't work on that skeleton melody too much. It's really what it's all based on. So now we've done lyrical melody, shuffle melody. The next thing is to find some double stops. And my whole approach to double stops is like, you can memorize them in scalar fashions, or, in 6. And that kind of thing is sort of useful in some ways, but I think it's much more functional to learn your double stops through harmonizing a melody. Because they're actually going to occur in that way much more often than in a scalar fashion. Basically what we're looking for is like a consonant note on either above or below the melody note, a harmonizing note, and then sometimes a unison note. You notice sometimes mandolin players slide up for the unisons on the various strings. So we're looking for a harmonizing note above, below, or a unison. So for now, I'm going to leave the pickup notes alone, but check it for this first melody note. just it's that same second fret on the A, but with the open D in there. Yep. And for all of this, for the time being, we're going to keep it all within the shuffle still. So keeping that rhythmic subdivision. And also, not every melody needs to have a harmony note, but the sort of main points of the melody where we hang out for a while, we want to find a harmonizing note for that. So. And now the next note's going to be this G note. I like this fifth fret on the G. It requires somewhat of a stretch, and that you can either bar it. What I do is I sort of stretch my second finger over. Yeah, exactly. There, you got it.
You're suspending the G.
Say that again.
Suspension.
I know we're on the C chord now. Da 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 da. Yeah, the melody note's a G, but it's over a C chord. That makes sense?
Right, but it sounds suspension-y. Suspension-ish on the G.
Not really, because
it suggests a suspension on it. It's suggestive of a G.
Well, we're on a C chord now.
But it does matter.
Okay. A suspension implies that it's like above a note of the chord coming down to it. But as it is, it's the root and the fifth of the chord, because we're on C now. So that phrase. Yeah, there you go. We'll leave these faster notes alone for now. And now just the open D and the open A. Back to the. And then for that last one, I like to do the fourth fret on the G. Yeah. So pretty easy double stops. A lot of it's just open strings. Let's try that again, incorporating all of those. 1, 2, 3. Let's do it a little faster now. And a lot of this stuff, it's like, comes back to a lot of stuff I was saying in the workshop this morning of, throwing yourself into the deep end. You can, this is a break you could probably play in a jam tonight if you wanted. So I'll count it off. 1, 2, 3. Sounds great. It's amazing what the shuffle does for people's timing too, because it's just much tighter together than usually this many mandolin sounds. So let's do another some more double stops. Take the melody we did, which is the same octave, but is in